Hello everyone. I just wanted to make a video quickly saying that I recently got in to the Unspooled Film and Animation Festival. This is my first ever film festival I've ever gotten into, so I thought I'd make a video about it and just tell you guys about it. You may be wondering, why are you making a video about this? It's because to me, this entire channel from beginning to end has pretty much just been my video production and filmmaking journey. From the beginning, sophomore year of high school, is when I first started trying to make like live action content, and then to now, my last 3 videos were short films. And here we are, I got a film into a film festival. So the film festival is associated or ran by my alma mater, UW Stout, but you know, it's still a huge step for me. Even so, it was still difficult to get into. 2 years ago, I actually submitted a film to this festival and it got rejected. And so, you know, even though it's not, you know, Sundance, it's still tough to get into a festival. I mean, you still need to make something that is like technically has no issues. The previous one that I submitted was the short film I made called Don't Help Me Please, which did have color grading issues. It did have audio issues. ADR, dubbing, was not the best. And so it got rejected. So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta make something that's has no technical issues. So I made sure the color grading was fine. I tried to do something unique with a 3:4 aspect ratio. And my solution to having like no good mics at the time was I'll just make the short film be a voiceover. Like it's a narrator talking directly into a mic, narrating what's happening on screen. And it worked, and it's great. Yeah, so, you know, back when I started in about freshman year of college is when I started thinking about making short films. And my first ever goal was, I knew that my university had a film festival, which is the one that I just got accepted into. And I was like, my first goal, right? Maybe the ultimate goal is to become a famous director or something. But my first goal is I just want to get accepted into a film festival. Simple as that, nothing more. And I knew that my university had a film festival, and I knew that they had like a theater that they played the films in. So that was like immediately a great dream of, if I just get accepted into this like local university film festival, I can have one of my creations played in a theater, like with an audience. And that was just such an amazing concept. And I've finally reached it. And so that was like a great goal of mine, and like, it's been accomplished, you know, 3 years later. And I also think this is a huge step for me just in filmmaking. I'm kind of going from, you know, just making short films on YouTube, seeing how they kind of bomb, and then going to like, now I can start submitting to film festivals and like getting accepted and stuff. Like it's a jump to the next step. I watched this YouTube channel called Standard Story Company. He's really good. He gives a lot of advice on how to write stories, how to make film, like anything short film making associated. And he has a lot of steps on film festivals, right? He'll have a guide of like, here's how to make a successful short film. And then there will always be like a step on like how to get into film festivals. And I've just never been at that step. And it's cool to now be at the step of, I am now at the submitting to short films festival step in my journey. So that is really awesome. So here's a big question. Am I still making short films? Yeah, kinda. My previous 3 short films came out once a year, and this was not planned. It's just that I went to university to get a degree in something that is completely unrelated to video production. It was computer science and game development. And I just didn't have all the time in the world to make short films. So unfortunately, the pacing turned into 1 short film a year. But because that pacing is happening, I kind of want to continue it and make another short film this year, even though I'm busy doing other things. And so I'm just going to continue that forever, at least 1 short film a year. I think that's just a good goal. I actually did try to record a short film at the end of my senior year of college, which is very recently, which is last year. But we just, you know, the short film took place in our dorm, and it was with my dorm roommates. And unfortunately, we are no longer living together. We no longer have access to that dorm, and we did not finish filming. It just got too busy towards the end of the school year. I'm showing some footage up on screen right now. This is lost media. Well, until now, I'm showing it to you now, but this will never be used. But it was a cool kind of proof of concept, I guess. But I still really, really want to make that short film. I really like the story, and so it will be made at some point in a different setting, probably with different people. But it's interesting. You can almost see an alternate reality of what that short film's going to be. But what am I doing with my time right now that is not allowing me to make short films? I'm actually dedicating all of my time right now on developing a video game as a solo dev. If that's your cup of tea, it's not everybody's cup of tea if you're watching this channel for like live action or film making stuff. But the video game its inspiration was actually using the photography that I learned from filmmaking, the writing that I learned from filmmaking, and the video production that I learned from filmmaking all in one game. So this game is really like a passion project for me. The YouTube channel will be in the description if you want to follow along on that game's journey. It's very narrative heavy. So maybe if you like watching short films, you'll be interested in narratives. I'll just describe it real quick right now. So the game is called Ode to Iowa. So in Ode to Iowa, you play as a man who just moved from his old hometown in Iowa to New York City in pursuit of a career in photography. However, upon arrival, he realizes somebody in his family must have packed with him the old family computer. When he sits down at the family computer to look for inspiration for photography, he discovers files unraveling a story from his hometown that he tried to forget, showcasing his struggle with his own family, along with a string of family murders throughout the town. However, alongside those memories, he also discovers a series of corrupted files that depict a distorted, post-apocalyptic version of his hometown, suffering from an infection from the water supply. Citizens that he used to know have had their minds and bodies mutated into otherworldly beings. A corrupted file depicting this itself would already be weird, but the thing is, he somehow remembers the infection. The player explores the story file by file through image, video, text, and audio files with unique gameplay interactions for each. For example, with image files, the player will be able to enter point-and-click exploration style levels of memories of his past through those images. But eerie occurrences are also happening in the apartment around him, allowing the player to physically get up from their desk and protect their apartment. Characters and creatures from the files feel like they're lurking around the apartment, as New York also seems to slowly suffer the same infection that Iowa had in the corrupted files. Which story from the files should he trust? What is real and what is fake? Find out all of that and more in Ode to Iowa. Yeah, so this game is a real passion project. It really combines a lot of interests and passions and emotions that I have from my personal life. One thing I'm really interested in is I think the levels of the game essentially being files that you're browsing through on an OS is really cool, along with the ability to get up from the desk and enter this 3D apartment that you can have your own super creepy experiences in. It kind of takes that point and click style exploration horror and just expands it into the third dimension. Also, the whole art direction is photography based. All of the photos on the OS and all of the backgrounds in the point and click style exploration section of the game are real photos that have just been edited or color graded or filtered, but they're all real photos. And in the 3D section of the game, every texture is going to be a real photo. This matches with me because I love photography, and also I wrote the main character to love photography as well, so it all just comes full circle. And finally, this game is very focused on Midwest nostalgia. That is, I think, a core thing that a lot of people would like from this game, and also focuses on the horror surrounding Midwest nostalgia. And it's extremely narrative heavy. It's a linear narrative game, mainly from my practice from writing short films. So I'm very excited about that. With making a game, I can kind of unlimit myself. I'm not limited to, having a $0 short film budget. I can kind of just go crazy and whatever I want and have a apocalypse occur. So yeah, like I said, if you're interested in that, the channel for that is in the description below. I'll also have these @ on screen for the different social media accounts for it. I'd recommend YouTube or Twitter the most, probably. X, formerly known as X, or X, formerly known as Twitter. But yeah, if you've ever watched any of my short films, or really any video on my channel, thank you for giving it a shot. If you ever left a like or a comment, that is also very epic. I really like those. Yeah. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video.